Alibaba, I think, is bigger than Amazon and eBay combined, I'm pretty sure.
Or I thought I was on mute. I was telling my wife to check something on AliExpress today, so I thought you were responding to what I was saying.
Uh,
But yeah, I've been. I work in IT, and I've worked in IT for 20 years now. I've actually been thinking about going back to school, to law school, because I recently, within the past couple of years, went through a divorce. I didn't really understand. I never got in trouble or anything in my life, so I never had really spent any time in court. And after kind of seeing how it goes down, uh, I really would like to go back and get my law degree. But so as I've been like researching some of this stuff, I've been going down these rabbit holes of where people are going into court. They're not sovereign citizens by any means, but they're basically like calling out the jurisdiction of the court and asking, if they fall under common law versus admiral or maritime law. And come to find out, like every single person that calls the judge out for this, the judges like just start running away and will dismiss everything because they're kind of pulling one over on us with what they're doing in the courtrooms in the United States, and
You
like
find the
policies.
more. Sorry,
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say you find the Moors doing that the most. There's still a group of like um black nationalist group that's so goes by the Moors. So not like the old nationality or old people, but the Moors to do today, they commonly do that when they have court things, and they're the most extensive ones that you can find videos on, is when they're doing it. Um, but if you look at some of the newer ones, the judges are kind of just having the people just taken to jail right away. Like they're treating them like they're just saying some rubbish and they're acting crazy. Now, whether or not that's because the person isn't um, going down the speech properly, you know what I mean? If you watch enough of that, there's kind of like a lingo that has to be used in every
yeah,
turn.
there's a
Yeah.
whole language behind it, and if you don't know the language and how to apply it, then yeah, you're just gonna get held in contempt of court.
Yeah, and the thing though I've been seeing though is some of the newer ones. It seems like the people that even do know the language, the judge is just saying whatever. Like,
Now I'll tell you something interesting. Like a friend of mine that's local to me. I live in East Tennessee in a small county, and you can imagine the corruption. But he let his tags expire by a couple of years, and ultimately took his tags off and displayed "do not" or "not for hire." And then he let his license expire, so he gets pulled over, and they write him up. They could have taken him to jail, they said. Instead, they wrote him up for not having a driver's license. And when he went to court to fight it, using Black's Law Dictionary, a driver is defined as somebody who operates a motor vehicle for commerce. And he claimed he was using his personal property to travel, but not for commerce, and actually got it dismissed. Because he's one of these people that kept saying, like, you don't need a driver's license or a license plate. And he tried it and he won. So I've been really interested in that now, trying to figure
now
out.
see the funny one. Uh, I haven't. What is it now? 5 years. I haven't had a license, registration, insurance while driving. Um, and I don't play that game with the police. I just explain to them I live out in the middle of nowhere, just here in a town and grocery shopping or whatnot. The most forward a cop has been, like when you're, civil like that, has been more of like a lecture on having insurance. Because what if you hit me and we get in an accident? What's there to cover me and my losses? And so, like, insurance has only been the thing that a cop has ever really said something about. And I understand insurance just on that note of, like, well, what if we get into an accident? How do we cover each other if one of us doesn't have the funds to do that?
Yeah, the insurance part I think is understandable. Let's say it's just like a single car runs off the road and you take out somebody's fence, and you're somebody that lives paycheck to paycheck. You don't have $1,000 to fix their fence. Yeah, you need something to cover like that liability. But as far as like the driver part goes, he like brought in one piece of paper, asked to approach the bench, and slid this piece of paper in front of the judge, which like shows the definition of a driver. And then the other thing a lot of people argue is the taxes on the license plate is like what pays for the road, but actually it's the taxes on gasoline that pays for the
It's
road.
not even all your state taxes do that too. Like when you go to the store and you buy something and the state tax is included in everything, that goes towards the roads as well. So I'm with you. I don't go for the taxes supporting the road idea through licensing and all that.
Yeah, the same constitutional law that tells you don't have to have a driver's license tells you don't have to have a license plate or insurance.
Yeah, you only have to follow the DMV code statutes. They're not laws. If you're a vehicle, if you're operating a motor vehicle for business, but as a private individual, you're using your private property for travel, which doesn't constitute as why you would need to follow those statutes and regulations. Now, when you go and you apply for a driver's license, you subject yourself to all that.
Correct. And growing up, we're just told by our dad, hey, you're 16 now, you can go get your license. So we just do it because it's like the normal thing to do. But when you actually dig into it, it's not. Now, if you have a job where occasionally you have to take a work car and drive it to another place to pick up a product or something, then it would apply. But just for personal travel, no driver's license is required.
I'll tell you this right now, though. All of these things become more strenuous to do when you have a family. If you're a single individual and you fuss around with the cops on those things, to that, whatever. But when you have a family, I'll tell you this now, they'll use that against you. They'll use that to put fear into you, to try to press you towards things. And what's sad is a lot of the times those situations, but if you keep resisting, makes it worse just because it's sort of like an ego fight. And when the guy has a gun.
Yeah, then you're breaking into the territory of though, like with like about the birth certificate. Like you're basically creating a straw man, a fictional entity with a name of that child that's property of the state.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll use that crap against you. It's kind of crazy though. Like if you could get the word out to 80% of Americans, and all of a sudden 80% of Americans started doing it this way, I mean, things would change. But the problem is, it's like 1 out of 10,000 is even aware of these kind of things existing or what we're even talking about. And you're just deemed as crazy.
It is getting more frequent though. Like you're seeing people with license plate that say traveler more often. Or what's the other one? CC, what was it? CCU 1008 or something like that, which is it's a code pretty much saying I shall not, my constitutional rights or whatnot shall not be infringed or something like that. But no, people are putting that as their license plates. But at the same time, you're also seeing a whole lot more often vehicles on the road with absolutely nothing on their rear. No plate, no nothing.
Yeah, like I see it a lot of times. Another thing the reason I started even like looking into this about the driver's license thing was, where I live in a really rural area and you got a lot of these like diesel trucks or dualies that, more than half the time have a trailer behind them. They don't even have a license plate on the back of the truck. Because the trailer would cover it up anyways, So
when I drive with my trailer, I feel more comfortable.
Right. But Yeah, it is getting more common. The other thing I think is really interesting is like the Second Amendment. You know, I'm a big gun advocate. Um, like the fact that you have to, you know, now in Tennessee, it's now constitutional carry. You're allowed to conceal or open carry without any kind of permit or license. But like technically, shouldn't we not have to have a license anyways? I mean, it says it shall not be infringed, and it doesn't limit to what type of gun. So like, I mean, if a man wanted to carry around a bazooka, he should be able to. I mean, that's a little bit of a stretch, but you understand what I'm saying.
I think there's
I,
16,000. I think there's 16,000 car accidents a day in America alone. So that's with the system we have now. If you just have no licenses, you know, they do vision checks on you. You need to be able to see good to drive. They do a vision check on you to make sure you can drive. You know what I'm saying? They train you on how to drive, what all the signs mean. Like this is pretty good process we got going.
Yeah, Jeremy, does that include people being hit by vehicles?
Insurance, I don't know. It's just car accidents. It's anything from a fender bender to a 18 car pileup on the highway. It could be anything. But the thing is, though, you also got to have insurance. Like you got to be covered. Somebody said it a minute ago. What happens when you run over a $3,000 fence, or you crash through somebody's living room, or you hit a Benz? Like you got to be able to. People got to get their stuff fixed. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be pissed if you hit my car and can't. I'm just asked out.
Yeah, but I mean, some people, to be fair, some people could, you know, if they wasn't paying insurance premiums, they could just pay for the fence. But since they having to pay for insurance and tags and driver's license over and over and over, when they might run through a fence once in a lifetime, it just, you know, seems like a money racket.
Yeah,
It ain't that
I've said that same argument because like I'm not accident prone. I'm 42. I had my first accident ever last August, and it was not my fault. But like for all the money I've spent on insurance payments in my 26 years of driving would be probably in the hundreds of thousands, or at least in the high tens of thousands, which would be more than enough to cover any small accident if I were to cause one. You know.
Yeah,
Maybe.
but put yourself in the shoes of somebody who's like actually got like a really nice expensive car, like a Lamborghini. Like, and you go and you pull out in front of that dude, you fucking wreck his Lamborghini. You're not
And maybe
fixing that dude out of your pocket.
and then maybe injure someone inside, right? So that's why they have these $1
Yep.
million protection plans for people.
I mean, that's why they're called accidents. He didn't do it on purpose, and the dude with the $100,000 Lamborghini should pay everybody's medical bill and get them a new vehicle. Come on, bro, he's got it like.
the only thing with the expensive car one that's kind of getting a little bit out of hand is in cities that have residents who purchase more expensive vehicles, your insurance premiums go up if you want insurance in that city, just because other people have expensive vehicles.
Yeah, I had this discussion the other day with my father. You know, if you drive a $250,000 Lamborghini Huracan and you have full coverage insurance with a perfectly clean driving record, and let's say you're 50 years old, what do you think? First of all, the deductible is probably going to be like 10 grand no matter what. But what do you think the monthly payment is for full coverage on something like that? Just a guess.
I mean, that's just the Lamborghini, bro. Like, shit gets way more expensive. Like, when you start getting out towards the Midwest, they got John Deere tractors that are millions of frickin' dollars, dude. You know, maybe
Me and my
more.
wife,
You know,
you got people in the city feeling like they're ritzy, having this big house and this fancy car and all that. You got all these ranches out here. One tractor costs as much as a fucking house. Like one tractor. The cost of one tractor will buy you like 2 Lambos.
but that's what I'm saying, Yahweh. And you over here with your no insurance having self, you go and you wreck my fucking $4 million tractor, bro. I'm fucking.
Hey,
we're gonna own your generation, bro.
It's actually why we do not drive long distances like that, except for going and getting groceries in the month. We don't drive, but I've promised my wife to go see her family in Sacramento. So guess what? I'm insuring and registering the vehicle. So it's like I understand, you know, if you want to do certain things, you know, you gotta step in the shoes.
Yeah,
exactly.
So
How much would you
I'm
want?
gonna
Let's say
keep
if you
driving.
were in a vehicle accident and you became paralyzed. How much money would you want for the rest of your life? 100,000.
That's why we have health
I mean,
insurance.
that itself is like an entitled type of idea, anyways, because you go back 40 years, 30 years, and none of those things happened. You didn't get paid out for accidents.
That's
But
true.
what if I take my $4 million tractor that am not required to have license to drive or keep insurance on it and run over your $200,000 Lamborghini?
Well, you got farmer's insurance for that. Huh. Real stuff.
The point,
What happens if your cow is out when you had a fence and
Yeah.
someone smacks into your cow? There is insurance for those.
the
That-
point is we're not required to insure a $4 million tractor or have a driver's license to operate it, but we do some little $20,000 car. It's just a money racket, people.
Well, you're also not allowed to drive your tractor over to Arizona from California. You know what I mean? You're not allowed to do that.
Sure. I can drive it anywhere I want to. Sure, I can. I don't even have to use the road matter, but
I
about
know, but with that mentality, just like we both have heard before, with someone with a common friend expressing the same things on this. If I crash into your house, if you weren't there to, if I crashed into your $1,000 fence and you weren't there with your hands on the fence, it's not yours. What harm was done? It's not really
He said-
yours in that moment. You
He said
know
he's
that
gonna
argument.
pull up and knock on your door with his tractor.
He's already come and pulled up and knocked on my door.
What about this, Yahweh? Let's say someone was driving innocently and following the rules, but then a billionaire comes by. He's been drinking and speeds and crashes into the car, and now someone's paralyzed. What do you think then? Should that policy be in place where someone gets like how much would you expect?
I don't think we need a policy in place to be good people and take care of the damages we cause. You know what I mean?
Well, there should
Like,
be
that's-
separation. You got health insurance that comes into play at a certain point, right? You have to separate it, right? And like car insurance should be to repair the vehicle, right? Each individual's health insurance should be to protect their health. Life insurance should be looking at your life. But the sales system, the marketing system, they have so much regulations on marketing and knowledge where they pay individuals to go out and be salesmen. So that's why you have this like MLM like agency structuring behind. If you want to get educated on how insurance works, it's almost nearly impossible. Like you have to become a master in sales conning to reverse, decode the knowledge. So it's crazy.
Oh yeah.
So-
A funny example for this is when I worked for a beer factory. All the salesmen that worked for the beer factory got vehicles to go out for sales, to go talk to other prospecting customers to put their beer on the shelves. But the company carried extra DUI insurance on the vehicles because they expected their salesmen to drink on those sales jobs, like on those talks. And so they knew that their sales guys would be drinking and driving. And so they carried extra insurance to cover that. That's crazy to me.
Dude, the private sector insurance is like some unholy loophole that if the whole world knew about it, they would lose their minds.
Oh yeah.
They take policies out like on each other, like all the big bailouts, all the bank bailouts, the car company bailouts. They all got the checks from the insurance companies, and even if the insurance companies fail, they have insurance policies on each other.
Mm-hmm. And then they're all covered by the government.
Bingo. I think it's evil.
At the end of the day, we're the ones paying the insurance on everything.
And then you can start thinking about like, why doesn't our country have resources that are devoted to, covering accidents for their citizens? Right?
Well, you do this rabbit hole and you come to find out we being the wealthiest country on earth definitely have it to where every single born American can receive a food card where there is no food problem for any American in this country. Every American can receive a free home. Every American can receive free health insurance just because of what we make off the rest of the world and what we sell to the rest of the world. We can provide that for our own citizens.
Yep. And if it was smartly invested, instead of creating this, fake ownership slave system with corporation under our name, if they invested a percentage into each individual, we would have each citizen would literally have lifelong dividends.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's not unrealistic. It's not like saying we could just pay for everyone to make life free. I mean, there'd still be incentive to be productive and be wealthy. It would just be from different kickoff points. People would not be trying to figure out how to get ramen noodle while they're doing their first day job.
Yeah, that's true. If there was more transparency and access, well said, Tank.
Yeah,
I'm learning to underwrite right now.
Yeah, we could do a lot. We got little children starving to death in America. Isn't that the most insane thing you've ever heard of?
Yes.
It's insane for people to starve in this country if we're paying for food in other countries. It's insane. I mean, you go on an airplane, the first thing they tell you is make sure your oxygen mask is on before you help anybody else. So it's like we should be making sure the oxygen mask is on our citizens before helping anybody else because it makes us more capable to help everyone else.
Yep. In the movie called Where to Invade Next by Michael Moore, he actually traveled the world. And in France, you should see some of the poorest school education systems. They actually have a private chef that offer them real food. And then they took these children and showed them American food, and the children would look disgusted.
Well, that's why it's American poor people are fat. It's not that they're healthy because they eat a lot. It's because the food that they eat it makes you fat. Oh man.
Yep,
that's just a bite.
Someone told me the other day that Kentucky alone, and there was all the numbers for every state, but Kentucky alone sends over $100 million a year to Israel to fight Palestine, and we got children starving to death in America. What's really going on?
Most people do not know that if you are Jewish and you go to and this is not a joke, this is some real shit right here I'm about to say. If you are Jewish, if you have Israeli identity or Jewish identity, and you go to a bank and you apply for a loan, if you make it known that you are Jewish, you will receive interest-free things on your loan. You will have no interest on your loans. So it's quite funny that everybody in America has to pay interest on their loans, on business loans, on home loans, on car loans. But if you're Jewish and you get the same loan in this country, you do not have to pay interest on it. There's no interest on your loan.
That's right. There's a specific term for it.
Yeah, that's crazy. If anybody in here does any kind of business or has taken out loans to do any kind of thing to get up in life, you know what interest does to you. You like right now the way the market is, if you get a house that costs you like $200,000, let's say $230,000, by the time you're done paying after interest, you will have paid right now in the market around $500 and something thousand, almost double what the loan was for because of the interest. So imagine someone else that has the same standing as you, same personhood as you in this country, and is able to take the same loan out for you, but pay the exact price and not have to pay anything extra.
The reason why it was 0% initially, because it was an act of kindness, supposedly. That's out of the Jewish tradition.
Is that why wealthy businessmen talk about having a corrupt doctor is pivotal?
Lawyers tell you that for sure. When you go file an insurance claim, don't worry about going to your doctor. Come over here to this doctor I got on my salary at the taxpayer's expense. And you know how it goes. It'd have been a whole lot easier if you just keep your money in your pocket and pay for the fence you run through rather than paying the insurance company all your life. Look, bro, My wife had over $1 million insurance on her when she died. I don't like paying insurance, but she does. Now she already did. So, I get it. Some people's got their own view. Some people, I mean, she was all about insurance. She had insurance on every damn thing. But I don't, I'm like my grandmother. She was like, when I die, if you spend one red penny on my funeral, I'm going to come back and haunt your ass. Throw me in the bow and let the catfish eat me. Because I held it in.
There was once upon a time where, there was no free way to be buried, except for someone to bury you on a plot of land they had or something. But out of all, I know back in the day, out of all insurance that was, a little bit honorable, it was burial insurance, so that no one else was stuck with the bill to bury you.
I mean, why do you gotta have insurance to bury somebody? Dig a hole, put them in the ground, bro.
Yeah, it would assume to be that easy.
A real easy way to be a millionaire. Become an insurance salesman and just sell burial insurance. It's real basic. Everyone can kind of easily get people on your team with it.
Yeah, you can also pull on people's sympathy, like most funeral homes do. At a time when you're down and out, boy, they'll get in that pocket. I'm telling you, it was over 10 grand for a wife's funeral, and that was cheap.
Doc, we don't know what you're saying, bro. It's really
You
bad.
sound like Boomhauer, Doc.
Fucking hard. It's hard to hear, bro. You're like a robot Boomhauer, dude.
Soon they're going to be selling alien insurance.
Oh,
alien
man.
protection insurance. 2030.
I watched a show where they did that, where it was like some aliens weren't going to be here for like another 250 years, but they were like making their presence known beforehand. So the Earth started offering like insurance against the aliens, and then also like a global fund that people could donate to create something to fight the aliens when they got here. Not
right. They're going to shift it from the climate change to alien change.
Oh man.
What do y'all think about? Y'all heard about that? That they might try this alien invasion type shit with some holographic stuff in the skies. Does that kind of sound like some wild shit, or that might be possible?
Yeah, that's one of the cards they're considering. That or probably a war.
Also, we got this Phoenix or some type of other celestial body or asteroid that might hit Earth and cause some kind of debate, or I damn sure think something big happen, but I think it's something big needs to happen to make people start pulling together instead of stepping on each other's head.
Should they use the truth or should they use lies to unite people?
Lies, my man, lies.
Depends on
Lies
who
seem
to
to
say
unite
it.
everything.
Well, I don't know. I heard a good quote one time by Adolf Hitler. Said, "If you tell a lie, a big enough lie, and you tell it frequently enough, it will be believed."
Well, you love a quote Hitler, don't you?
What's the context of that quote, though? Is he referring to himself, or is he referring to another?
It's pretty clearly that that's how the world works, and that there's a importance of repeating things and making people believe it. Which is why, like, if it wasn't important for us to believe what they say and what they put out there, then they wouldn't put so much effort into making you believe it through essentially every means possible: movies, TV shows, music, social media, etc., etc.
There's a real aspect to the whole idea of showing you what they're doing to gain the idea of complacency. If you don't fight, it's not because we didn't tell you.
I think they're exposing things more like really putting things out in front of people's face plainly for them to see, because they want to see who will fight and who won't. I think that's part of the whole pandemic was, if you just follow along, we don't want you. But we want somebody to fight. I think there's somebody that really want to fight. I mean, hell, if you put it in an army, Yeah, if you're building an army, don't you want someone that'll stand up and fight through it all? You don't want some weak little pussy.
You mean like David?
I mean, the way the future's going, you're just going to need a guy who's good at stuff like Call of Duty, Battlefield, Warzone, stuff like that, and you're good.
What if that just spirals out into more war?
No, I think you need some cavemen because the whole thing's going to implode and what do they say?
Well, that's
Civilization will collapse and they'll know the sort of the outskirts of society, the ones that didn't take on the technology, will be the survivors.
Have you seen some of the calluses that would have been on like older humans or like original humans, or how thick their skin really would have been?
It's the same thing with teeth. The diet was different. Wisdom teeth aren't vestigial. If we have our true diet, our normal diet, our healthy diet, your jaw develops to where your wisdom teeth just become extra sets of teeth to keep chewing.
That's kind of curious, right? But wisdom teeth are not denotable sort of inherently when you look at someone. It's something that's sort of, it's not, you don't really interact with wisdom teeth except for in your own mouth. So,
I mean, when you see somebody being retarded, they probably do have their wisdom taken out.
do you reckon you could actually point at someone and sort of given 5 minutes of interaction with them, you could say, "Hey, you got wisdom teeth or not?"
You can pretty confidently say, based on age and strength of the jaw, if their jaw is
Have I got
not
wisdom
hanging.
teeth? Yasuke, have I got wisdom teeth?
No. I don't. I've seen your face, but I forget.
Is Gio, are you here? Gio,
I thought you could just do it through a conversation. No? Okay.
Your back jaw closes in too much while you talk. They've been removed.
The 4 wisdom
no.
teeth. So supposedly we have 32 teeth. That's an interesting number.
Does anyone know if Gio is here?
Yeah, I'm here. What's up?
Well, I'm getting messages from QOP. He's messaging me. Can you ask Gio to unban me?
Just DM me, dude. We don't need to talk about moderation on the live stream, bro. Just send me a DM or something.
Do you want me to DM you, or do you want QOP to DM you, or?
Well, I don't know, but interrupting the middle of the live stream to talk about QOP's moderation problems is probably not really the best.
All right, I'm sorry. I'll DM you. My bad. I apologize.
It's all good.
I
mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, he was just repeatedly doxing Witsit, so I think his account's restricted. And I just told him he can't dox people here, and then he just refused. So I think his account's restricted. So I mean, that's all it is. I mean, he just refuses not to post all kinds of personal, private stuff about Witsit's life. So I mean, that's the issue. If you want,
Thank goodness. What about cannibals? Do they have perfect teeth? Because I remember seeing cannibals, and I don't think they had a shining example of a full set of teeth.
Well, you think vegetarians have got perfect teeth?
Well, I remember seeing early photos of the
horses
Aboriginals, and they had perfect teeth.
Almost all
the
skeletons pre-1800s, except for wealthy individuals. When you look at their skulls, they almost all have perfect teeth. You can literally trace the degradation of human teeth with the commonization of sugar in the diet of humans.
Yeah.
If anything, having perfect teeth is actually the norm, and it is the exception that people have such messed up teeth. And then you look at modern foods these days. There's nothing really that you do that is chewing hard foods. Instead of having a chuck roast, which can be pretty difficult to chew sometimes. It got some gristle in there, you're having a hamburger and there's no chewing involved. Mashed potatoes instead of, something else. There's no chewing involved in modern diet.
Steamed vegetables.
I've got that, I went and bought the gum. I'm really into gum, chewing stuff and shit. Apparently I'm some sort of, I need to do something with my mouth while I'm doing paying attention to stuff because it helps or something. But my teeth are
you're getting plastic in your gum, bro. You need to be careful.
No, do
Yeah,
you
it's
do you
no, it's
yeah,
mastic
mastic
gum.
gum? Yeah.
I got the pure gum. What is it? The
Okay.
pine gum. I've converted over. I used to do the chewing gum stuff, the synthetic stuff. Yeah, I saw the problem, but in any case, my teeth aren't perfect, right? Like there is a slight. I don't need to get into the details, but when I chew the gum, my teeth actually do go slightly into alignment, and it's kind of funny actually. Like if I stop chewing the gum, then they go back into the misalignment slightly. Or at least they seem to like slightly align a little bit more if I go like pretty hard on the chewing gum. So
Yeah,
it seems
it's
to
just
support that mission.
something's really important. I mean, it's essentially like, strengthening something will make it stronger, and using your jaw will give you a stronger jaw. Wild
Your
to think about.
your inner of your mouth, the upper part of the inner of your mouth. If you stick your tongue up there, you feel a
Sorry,
line.
no.
Yeah, you feel a line that goes up the roof of your mouth, and that's a plate, a bone plate that actually still grows throughout your entire life. Same thing with your skull plate, though it ends up bonding. The line ends up disappearing after a certain age. But with the roof of your mouth, it can spread, it can widen open, and there are exercises you can do to help your jaw widen out, and it actually increases your breathing capabilities. But a person's narrowness of their jaw can actually directly be related to breathing problems.
Yeah, I mean that's why the whole mouth breathing thing is a meme.
I'm
Not
surprised
a
it's not a profession already.
professional
like mew.
mouth breathing.
Yeah, like mewing doctors or something. Like a musician. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like mewing is literally comes from Dr. Mike Mew, and he has just
Oh,
the
really?
most Chad
I didn't know
jawline possible. It's
Okay.
orthopedics, and I mean, it's become a meme among like young people these days of essentially mewing and like looks maxing and all of this stuff. So it does have like a pretty big like cultural impact among young people these days.
That's the end of that topic. What's up? What else? What else were we on before? Does anyone remember?